Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This is the question and answer session from May 28th. Public Health Director Annette Rodriguez and Dr. Chris Bird will be addressing questions received this week. Please feel free to add your follow-up questions to chat. Today's topics are COVID tests, vaccination clinics, and COVID in children, of course, our weekly healthy lifestyle check-in. Dr. Bird.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
So, Annette, how have the vaccinations been going this past week?
They've been going fairly well. We have definitely seen a decline in the number of people that are coming in to get vaccinated, but the mall's still going steady, which is a good thing because, people have to come back for their second doses, so they know they can't find a place to get their second dose, they should head out to the mall because we're available there. All they need to bring is their vaccination card, so we know which vaccine to give them for their second dose. But this week, we're at Driscoll Children's Hospital. We started that yesterday and today we're there at the hospital. We have a little clinic there in the playroom. And so we vaccinated 17 yesterday, but we hope that number will increase. We're still at the Greenwood Senior Center on Thursdays and Fridays. Not this Saturday because of the holiday, but next Saturday we'll be there all day as well. And then we're probably going to increase the Greenwood Senior Center to every day. We're just kind of waiting for after school to end, and then we'll be there every day to try to get these kids 12 and up vaccinated. So it's going well. Next week we're going to start, we've been talking about getting on the bus. We're going to start next Wednesday at the RTA transfer station, so the bus transfer station that's on Staples, and that'll be on Wednesday. So if you drive or you use the bus, please think about going out on Wednesday and coming by the Staples transfer station, because we'll have tokens there and we'll vaccinate you and we can give you some tokens. So we hope to see you there. We'll be there from 7 in the morning till 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And then the following day, we'll be at Port Ayers transfer station. So you can meet us there as well. We'll vaccinate you and give you some bus tokens.
All right. Do you have any plans for lottery tickets or anything like that? Seems to be like the big buzz nationally. Somebody won $1 million because they got vaccinated and got a lottery ticket.
We're all wanting to get vaccinated in Ohio. So, we're thinking about maybe we need to reach out to the Texas Lottery to see what they can offer. So I wasn't exactly sure where we should be going, but or who should be taking the lead since that's for the state of Texas. But we're thinking about reaching out to the Texas Lottery to ask them, how would this work? I think it's an excellent idea. I'm anxious to see Ohio's numbers to see, because while all of us are decreasing on the number of people getting vaccinated, theirs are actually increasing, which is the right direction to be going.
Right. Yeah. And just from the perspective of how much money the public health department spends, that's maybe a good bang for your buck prospect, right? Because lottery tickets are cheap.
That's true.
All right. So let's get to so those are my questions for this week. Now we'll get to some of the other ones. Let's see,
Okay.
The questions from everybody else. When and where will there be free COVID-19 testing sites in Nueces County?
So for COVID testing, there's still free testing. It continues. It hasn't stopped. It's on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. It's from 7:30 to 1, and it's at the Old Memorial Hospital. So the only thing is this Monday, because of the holiday, they will not be open for swabbing. But Wednesday and Friday, they will be there from 7:30 to 1. So if you feel like you're symptomatic or you think you're exposed, you had an exposure, and you're worried about having COVID-19, by all means, go by Memorial Hospital. It's a drive-through. Go through, get swabbed, and then you can get your results in a couple of days.
All right. So would vaccine clinics in airports or ports of entry help protect our communities from potential outside variants?
I would say that any clinics that are getting people vaccinated would help, our community. So airports are definitely a good place to be. People are coming in, people are going. I think what you have to remember is that you don't get immunity that day or the next day. It takes a couple of weeks before you build up those antibodies. But yes, anywhere we can actually get more people vaccinated are definitely good places. I think when you're talking about entering or exiting the city, like those areas that are on the border of Mexico, You have to remember that it's not just the bordering areas. It's people fly in, people drive in, people come to our beaches. So it's everywhere. So if people were all vaccinated, we would be a much safer community.
Okay, thank you. Is there an update as to when children under 12 will be vaccinated?
The latest update I have is still mid-September, and so we're still looking for that to see if it'll get approved. I think they know how long it's going to take them before they meet those clinical trials for the stage 3, and so it's probably going to be mid-September before those vaccines are ready.
Okay, and we're going into Memorial Day weekend here. What kind of recommendations do you have for people in the Coastal Bend when it comes to Memorial Day celebrations?
Well, I think the biggest recommendation I have is just to be mindful that your children under the age of 12 are not vaccinated. And that's really important to remember because while we're vaccinated, I think we're feeling a lot more comfortable. We have to remember those little ones are not. And so we need to make sure that we protect them, even if you're out at the beach, to kind of stay in your own little circle of friends and don't be, spreading out there to everybody because these kids, I know how kids are. They run off, they make new friends very easily, but you really need to make sure that they're protected because the more people that get the virus, the the chance of mutation is there, and we're just going to keep fighting this upward battle. So if you could keep them from getting the virus, because we never want to see a child hospitalized due to COVID-19. So making sure that you protect your children is going to be the real important message to me this holiday weekend.
Yeah, from my own perspective, looking at the models and where we've been and seasonality and things like that, I'm myself holding off until July 4th to maybe go back to a normal type of celebration. Just because I think there's a chance here that in June we might see an uptick due to a seasonal effect that we might only see here in the deep south part of Texas. So for those of you that are wondering, is the pandemic over? It's definitely not over. There's definitely people that are still getting COVID, still going to the hospital. And just be mindful of that. And we're looking at what between 34% of the population has been completely vaccinated. So that's good, but not where we want to get to. And about 41% of the population has received at least one vaccine dose at this point in the Coastal Bend.
And what percentage have probably recovered from COVID altogether?
For that, we're looking at somewhere between 33 and 40%. And you can't add those numbers together because people that got COVID also may get vaccinated, such as myself. I got COVID and I got vaccinated. So those numbers don't add together. You're looking at 50, maybe 55% of the population has some bit of antibodies or immunity due to vaccination or recovery. So that still leaves 45 to 50% that don't.
I mean, that's like a gridlock and an arm wrestle.
Yeah, and
Okay.
just a reminder that the transmission rate of the B117 variant was 50% higher than the previous variant, where we got up to 3.3, so that puts us up in the fives. And now there's a new variant in India that's reported to be up to 50% more transmissive than the B117 variant, which puts that up to a very high transmission rate, which also means that herd immunity becomes increasingly difficult to attain. And I'll just leave you with this. If you haven't gotten COVID yet, basically at this point, you're either going to get vaccinated or you're going to get COVID at some point, whether it's next week or next year or 3 years from now. It looks like, according to the experts, COVID's not leaving. And until you're exposed to it, you're not going to have any antibodies or immunity, and you could still suffer the extreme negative effects of COVID if you haven't been vaccinated. And that's really the big thing about getting vaccinated is you're extremely unlikely to go to the hospital or to die or have any of those, really negative side effects. I mean, you're really unlikely to even know that you have COVID if you contract it after you get vaccinated. So it's one of the reasons why we're encouraging you to do that.
I think the other thing with the India variant is that, we've seen a couple of outbreaks in Texas that are with the variant, the B1617.2. And so we really need for people, again, to be careful, because I think people are actually thinking that everything's over and everything's good to go. And like Dr. Bird said, this variant is much more transmissible. I mean, we've all seen, what's going on in India and how sad, how horrific the virus is there. And we don't want the same here, but you're seeing a lot more movement of people. Even like at the universities, you're going to see, kids coming in from all over. And so you really need to be careful and mindful of your surroundings.
Yep. And at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that with COVID, more transmissible also means more virulent. It means you're likely to get more sick than you were before, just because the way it's getting more transmissible is it's the viral load is increasing with particular variants, and that's why they're more transmissible. Increased viral load is associated with increased severity of disease, and that's just the amount of virus that you come into contact with initially, and then it can expand and multiply in your body before a response is mounted. So that's why transmissibility is correlated with virulence of the disease.
Yeah, it could also be the more transmissible